Master your emotions. Transform your life. Most people believe their emotions control them. They say, I'm angry, I'm anxious, I'm sad, but the truth is more subtle and more powerful. You are not your emotions. You are the one experiencing them. And that single distinction can change your entire life. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals. But when you don't understand them, they feel like chains. Most suffering does not come from what happens. It comes from how long we replay it in our minds. An emotion lasts seconds, but the story you tell yourself can make it last years. Think about it. How many times have you felt pain once, but suffered hundreds of times by remembering it? Mastering your emotions does not mean suppressing them. It means understanding them before they control your behavior. Emotional mastery begins with awareness. The moment you notice, I am feeling anger, instead of saying, I am angry, you create distance. Distance creates choice, and choice creates freedom. Most people react. They don't respond. Reaction is automatic. Response is intentional. When someone speaks harshly, your ego wants to fight back. When things don't go your way, your mind wants to complain. But reacting does not protect you. It traps you. Every time you react emotionally, you give your power away. The strongest people are not emotionless. They are emotionally intelligent. They feel deeply, but they decide consciously. Emotions rise like waves. If you don't fight them, they pass. But when you resist, judge, or suppress them, they grow louder. Anger ignored becomes resentment. Sadness avoided becomes depression. Fear denied becomes anxiety. The goal is not to eliminate emotion. The goal is to observe it without becoming it. Ask yourself in difficult moments, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? What is this emotion trying to tell me? Emotions are messengers. They point to unmet needs, violated values, or unprocessed experiences. When you listen, they calm down. When you ignore them, they scream. One of the biggest emotional traps is identification. When you say, I am anxious, you lock yourself into that state. Instead say, I am experiencing anxiety. Language shapes identity. Identity shapes behavior. Another trap is emotional addiction. Yes, addiction. Some people are addicted to drama. Some to worry. Some to anger. Some to sadness. Because emotions, even painful ones, feel familiar. And the mind prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. To master your emotions, you must be willing to feel uncomfortable without escaping. No scrolling, no distraction, no numbing, just presence. When you sit with an emotion without feeding it thoughts, it dissolves. Stillness is powerful. Breathing slows the nervous system. The body relaxes before the mind does. Control your breath, and emotions follow. Another key to emotional mastery is expectation. Most frustration comes from unmet expectations. You expect people to behave a certain way. You expect life to be fair. You expect effort to always be rewarded. Reality does not obey expectations. Acceptance does not mean weakness. It means clarity. You stop fighting reality and start responding to it. You cannot control external events, but you can control how much space they occupy in your mind. Your peace is your responsibility. No one else can protect it for you. Emotional mastery also requires boundaries. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not every opinion deserves attention. Not every reaction deserves energy. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to stay silent. You are allowed to walk away. Strength is calm. Weakness is impulsive. When emotions rise, delay action. Time is your ally. Most regrets happen when emotion is high and awareness is low. Mastery is choosing long-term peace over short-term expression. Another truth most people ignore: your body.
Most people spend their lives trying to control the world. They want people to behave differently. They want situations to go their way. They want life to cooperate. But the world was never meant to be controlled. The only thing that has ever truly been under your control is your inner state. And that is where real mastery begins. Emotions are not your enemies. They are energy moving through your body. They are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. Yet most people build identities around emotions. They say, I am an angry person. I am an anxious person. I am an emotional person. But emotions are not who you are. They are what you experience. The moment you understand this, you stop being owned by them. Emotional slavery begins when you confuse feeling with identity. Freedom begins when you separate the two. Every emotion has a beginning, a peak, and an end. What keeps emotions alive is not the feeling itself, but the thoughts attached to it. Thoughts are fuel, emotions are fire. Remove the fuel, and the fire burns out naturally. This is why awareness is more powerful than suppression. Suppression pushes emotion deeper into the body. Awareness allows it to pass through. Most people fear feeling deeply because they believe emotions will overwhelm them. But emotions only overwhelm when you run from them. If you sit still and allow an emotion to exist, without judging it, without naming it, without creating a story around it, it loses strength. Stillness is confrontation. Silence is courage. This is why emotional mastery feels uncomfortable at first. You are facing what you once escaped. Discomfort is not danger. It is unfamiliarity. Your nervous system has learned chaos. Peace feels strange to it. That is why calm can feel boring. That is why silence can feel heavy. But if you stay long enough, your system recalibrates, and peace becomes normal. Another truth most people avoid. Emotions are amplified by ego. Ego wants to be right. Ego wants to be validated. Ego wants to win. When ego feels threatened, emotions explode. The moment you stop needing to prove something, emotional intensity drops. Ask yourself during emotional moments, what am I trying to protect right now? My image, my pride, my expectations. Letting go of ego does not make you weak. It makes you free. People cannot emotionally manipulate someone who does not need approval. Another layer of mastery is learning emotional timing. Not every emotion needs expression immediately. Some need silence. Some need reflection. Some need time. Immediate expression often creates regret. Delayed response creates wisdom. Strong people do not explode. They process. They feel fully, but act selectively. There is also a difference between emotion and intuition. Emotion is loud. Intuition is quiet. Emotion pushes. Intuition guides. When the mind is noisy, intuition cannot speak. Emotional mastery creates inner quiet. Inner quiet reveals direction. This is why discipline matters. Regular sleep, reduced stimulation, intentional solitude. Chaos in lifestyle creates chaos in emotions. Another emotional trap is living in memory. Replaying past pain keeps the nervous system in survival mode. Your body does not know if a threat is real or remembered. It reacts the same. Healing happens when you teach your body that the danger is over. Breathing slowly, grounding yourself, returning to the present moment. Now is safe. Another deep truth. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. Sometimes emotional mastery requires distance. Distance from people who trigger your worst reactions. Distance from habits that overstimulate you. Distance from noise that fragments your attention. This is not rejection. This is self-respect. Protecting your emotional space is not selfish. It is necessary. You owe the world the best version of yourself, not the most exhausted one. Another level of mastery is understanding impermanence. Every emotion passes. Every phase ends. Every storm clears. When you remember this, you stop panicking during emotional waves. You stop saying, "This will last forever," because it never does. Even fear softens. Even anger cools. Even grief transforms. Time plus awareness equals healing. Emotional mastery also requires humility. You will fail sometimes. You will react. You will lose control. Growth is not measured by never falling, but by how quickly you regain awareness. Self-forgiveness is essential. Punishing yourself does not build discipline. It builds fear. Fear creates avoidance. Avoidance creates stagnation. Compassion creates consistency. Another advanced skill is emotional neutrality. Not everything deserves your emotional energy. Not every comment needs a response. Not every situation needs engagement. Calm people control rooms without raising their voice. Their presence speaks. That presence comes from inner order, and inner order comes from emotional mastery. At the highest level, mastering emotions means choosing values over moods. Moods change. Values guide. If you let mood decide your actions, your life becomes unstable. If you let values decide your actions, your life becomes grounded. Do the right thing, even when you do not feel like it. That is freedom. You are no longer ruled by inner weather. You become the sky, not the storm. And when you reach this place, life changes quietly. You speak less, but more clearly. You react less, but more effectively. You feel deeply, but suffer less. This is not emotional numbness. This is emotional maturity. And emotional maturity is the foundation of a powerful life. Because when you master your emotions, nothing outside of you can control your inner world. And that is the highest form of strength.